I'm Brian Noble, CEO of Family Policy Institute of Washington.
And I'm Brad Payne, President of FPIW Action.
A couple of disclaimers before we start this video. Nothing in this video should be construed as an endorsement of the candidate, nor the candidate's endorsement of FPIW, nor FPIW Action. It's simply a public service to meet and greet the candidate. Also, this will be recorded and placed on several platforms. Brad?
All right. Well, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. So, first question, kind of a three-parter. One, if you could just let everybody know who you are and what position you're running for, and then give us a little bit of background about yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about your family.
Well, thank you. I'm going to turn my phone off. My apologies. That's the last thing I need this morning. My name is Washington State Representative Leonard Christian. I am from the 4th District. That's the kind of Spokane Valley, Liberty Lake, all the way up to Elk. And I'm running for the open Senate seat position. And you wanted to know a little bit about myself. I kind of grew up in the area, graduated from Ferris High School in 1984, and married my high school sweetheart, Rima, just 9 days after high school. Still married today, 40 years, just in June. And I joined the Air Force 2 weeks later, where I learned to serve my country and care deeply about my community.
Excellent.
That's me in a ballpark. And then I got out and got involved in politics. What was I thinking?
Well, tell us what has motivated you to get involved in politics, in the public square, and serving your community.
Well, there's an old saying, if you want to get something done, hire a veteran. When it comes to politics, I got tired of sitting around complaining about it. My wife and I looked at each other and says, go do something about it, honey. And I did. I got involved pretty early, shortly after retirement, in the local party. I ended up running for an office and, didn't quite get that first election, which a lot of people don't win their first election, but we just kept pushing on, obviously. And in 2014, we were appointed to the position I'm currently in, and then ended up winning the election a couple of years ago. So to actually serve in that election. And then, of course, our senator decided to retire a little bit abruptly, but left the seat open. My wife and I decided to seek that open seat after a lot of prayer. And quite honestly, after researching some of the other candidates in the race, and decided we certainly could do more for our community, we felt.
Very good. All right. Well, my next question is, legislatively speaking, and I realize you're going into a new office, what's one or two of your top concerns? And then what would you hope to accomplish in office related to those concerns?
Well, and back in 2014, I had 5 committees, and one of them was state government. And so when I won election a couple of years ago, they decided to put me back in state government, where I'm an assistant ranking member. Well, guess what state government does? It does with all the election stuff. So I had quite a bit of experience with elections and computer systems, and I was a super user on Unix computer systems in the military. So I knew quite a bit about it, and I wanted to use some of that expertise to make sure that we have solid elections and secure elections in our country, and at least we're doing our part anyway. And so we were able to successfully block some really bad bills that would have, I think, compromised our voting rolls, mainly by stopping people who are currently incarcerated for felonies from voting and running for office, which they didn't realize was a byproduct of them allowing folks to vote while serving time. So we were able to successfully block that in our committee. As a matter of fact, through the help of a lot of people, we sent that out to a lot of our base, a lot of our pastors. We were calling our prayer circles, and they were going there. But I think recently, schools and education, a lot of what happened in my childhood, a lot of my childhood came out in the last couple of years, being raised on the streets of California by a single mom who just was wild and wanted to drive and move every couple of months to another state. So I never really learned to read or do math or anything else. And so by the time I got to high school, I could barely figure out a book, barely could do math. And it wasn't necessarily a failure of our system, a failure of my mom taking me out of the system all the time. Of course, my brother and sister as well. But for me, all of a sudden, when these educators started coming in, paraeducators and school superintendents, and all these folks started talking to me about the importance. Is like, oh my word, all this stuff just started coming out of my past. And I thought I just gotten really involved in education issues, not by choice, by the way, but I feel like God's pushing me that direction. So yeah.
Awesome. Our fourth and final question is, we've provided you with 18 issues that FPIW Action and Family Policy Institute of Washington work on, everything from individual freedom, public safety, homelessness, addiction. Any of those that you'd like to make a comment on or have a discussion about?
Well, that's quite a nice list, by the way, and they're all important to me, especially when it comes to your freedom. I was in the military for 20 years, 8 months. The Constitution and freedom is very important to me. However, I've started to do a little bit more deep dive into homeless issues, and we would all like to say it's all drugs and people just making poor choices, and that's not always the case. As my mom found us homeless several times, we didn't call it homelessness; we called it camping. By the way. So some of those issues are coming around in my purview and starting to use some of the expertise for some of these issues. Really, say a family member, a single mom gets sick or can't continue to work, and next thing you know, they find themselves completely underwater on the streets, and then there's not a lot of choices from there to go up. So I think it's important that as a state we focus on the people who want to get better and be there to help them. And the folks who would like to, there's no law against being homeless. If you just want to hang out on the side of a river and fish all day long, that is your prerogative in America. God bless freedom, right? But the folks who want to get out of that and start getting a job and providing for their family, we need to be there and we need to find ways to do that. So I appreciate what you guys have done and pointing that out, but those are some of the issues I'm focused on, and hopefully I can do that in the Senate.
All right. Well, thank you, Representative, for being with us this morning. Thank you for your thoughtful answers. We appreciate that. We thank you for the service you've provided to the people of Washington State, and look forward to serving many more years. So thank you for that, and thank you again for being with us.
Well, and you guys are fantastic getting out information that is timely, where you can your members and the people that who are involved with you guys can do something about it. A lot of these issues, if they don't know about it, they can't do anything about it. So thank you for your work as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right. Well, I'm Brad Payne with FPIW Action.
And I'm Brian Noble with FPIW. A friendly reminder that nothing in this video is to be considered an endorsement of the candidate, nor the candidate's endorsement of FPIW, nor FPIW Action. Like we like to say around here, love your neighbor by faithfully stewarding the public square. And if you're an FPIW defender, go out there and defend and advance biblical values in the public square.